Checker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
Yeah, the audio is my fault. Sorry, guys. Completely screwed that up when I was trying to get things set up. I just messed it up. I apologize. I was wondering why nobody said anything about the snowflake music at the beginning. So, not doing anything fancy today, just a little Southern comfort because I'm in the South and I could use a little comfort. All right. Let's see, where are we? So, Thomas was first in the house. John DeMarco says, greetings. Thomas says, bird of prey dumped us tonight. So, I don't know what happened because obviously I was not entirely available. I listened in on some of Sci-Fi Nation's stream, but I wasn't like actively on YouTube today. So, I don't know what happened there. Mike Richards here from Columbus, Ohio. Thomas says Evil Kurogan. Well, that's a given. Commander Sutter, and man, this is weird because see, I have everything like on different monitors than usual because it's game night, and I had to get the game screen set up over here. So apologize if I seem a little off because I'm reading the screen over here when usually it's over here. Anyway, Benny says hello. Then, yeah, sorry about the audio. Hopefully no one had urgent deer bop yet. So did he just not do a live stream at all? Because that's kind of weird for him. Renegade is here. Yes, I pulled a bird, Commander Shutter. Now I can smash a like button. Night Breeze is in the house. Tug says, are you printing a weightless companion cube? No. Actually, here's a funny thing. So, before we get into our Friday night frolics or whatever we're going to call this, and Death by Rabies throws $3 in as a super chat with the old fist bump. Thank you, Death by Rabies. I appreciate it so much. Why the fist bumping pair, I have no idea, but he's awesome. So as some of you may know, the other day I was working in Blender and I created a Blender donut. No reason other than there's a tutorial on YouTube on how to make a donut in Blender. So, just for the heck of it, I 3D printed the donut. Now, is it a perfect print? Not at all. You can see there's a lot of stringiness, especially on top. A little bit of problems for the support areas because of where the frosting kind of overhangs. So, that it didn't go perfectly, but I'm still learning some of the printer settings, trying to relearn some of this actually, and I updated the printer settings and it's now printing a new donut, and so I will do a side-by-side comparison of this first donut with the new donut when the new donut comes out. I printed in the exact same way, even though part of what I learned was that you should print things at a 45-degree angle, and this was laying flat on the bed. This one is also laying flat on the bed because I wanted to see just how much of an impact just changing the printer settings made. So it's identical to this one in every way. The next one I will try printing at a 45-degree angle because everybody keeps telling me that's what I should do. I also did a print to test the max volume of the Ender 3 printer and got this weighted companion cube. Again, not a great print. You can see a lot of stringiness on it. The bottom really completely failed. But overall, I like the general size of it. If I can get the printer settings to where I can print this as a clean print, this would be very, very nice, actually. I'm working on printing one of these for my daughter because she loves the weighted companion cube. So this is just a couple of things I'm working on while to try and relearn how to properly 3D print. And actually, I was never very good at it. But hopefully I will get good at it as time goes on. I have a couple of people helping me in the background. Big shout out I don't know if he's ever here or not, but to Script Doctor, who's offered me some advice, as well as Peter Gastas something. who is a good friend of Orville Nation, who's also a professional 3D printer, and he's been helping me too. So, let's see. Back to the chat we go. Darren says, interrupting Sci-Fi Nation's live stream like a would-be Bozy? What? Well, Darren, I stream at this time pretty much every night. And I was actually I was going to go over to, I completely spaced it. I started the stream and then I realized, oh, I didn't go tell Sci-Fi Nation. So I was going over to tell him, and I saw that, at least on my inbox, his stream wasn't popping up anymore. So I'm assuming he stopped his live stream. And if not, I'm sorry if I stepped on your toes, Sci-Fi. Rambling Canuck is in the house. Good to see you, my Pain brother. As is my other Pain brother, Captain Trek. Good to see you as well. Darren says, Sumo Casual Bird needs to go. You guys are so funny. He goes like, you hate Bird. He's like, you hurt his feelings. It's okay, Bird. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be shy. All right. So... sorry. Valor says, I don't know why I'm just feeling weird today. I have all but given up hope that YouTube sends me notifications. Vivian sent me a text that you were streaming. Oh, and she says hi. Very good. Well, I'm glad that Vivian is diligent, as you are clearly not. Shame on you. I can now forgive Star Trek Picard. I was watching Relics, and Scotty says, in response to Data explaining a synthahol, synthetic scotch, synthetic commanders. That's true. That is true. He did say that. So I guess Scotty coined the term synthetic. Holy crap. I never even realized that. Mike says, you don't want that companion cube. I will take it off your hands. So you like the I'll bet with the vile child like a companion cube. Is that what you're thinking? But yes. I do want to get it to where I can print it. I'm going to make a turd companion cube, I think, where I'll do my own version of the companion cube, but instead of hearts, it'll have my my logo in it. Because I can't, it would be inappropriate for me to sell or even give these away, because obviously these are part of the Portal franchise. But if I make my own version, well, then that's different. And Darren says, Antrigger, weighted companion cube equals log from Ren and Stimpy. Yes, indeed. Captain Foley is here. Good to see you, Captain. How much... Whoa, and then I just lost it. How much does the weighted companion cube weigh? Not very much, actually. You would think it would weigh more, but yeah. Why it's even called a weighted companion cube, I'm not entirely sure. Now, Trekyard is saying hail Kuroga because he's a traitor. I tell you, Captain Foley, you're really on the wrong side of this one. You do realize that Kuroga is in the regular habit of sending orphans to the mines. Just saying. That is, in fact, a fact. And, in fact, since we do have a VIP in the house, I'm going to do something that I don't generally do. But because Captain Foley is here, if he so chooses, he can get the first guaranteed seat in the contest here. Because I would love to see how Captain Foley does with a little bit of Star Trek trivia. So I am going to send... let's see if I can get there. Go to Facebook, because I happen to have Captain Foley's contact information there. Alright, so if you would like to join Captain Foley, and you don't have to turn your camera on or anything, because there's the link. We'll see if he does or not. I'll give him a minute. Jeff says, we actually like Bird. That's why we don't want him appearing like that. Sorry, that's how I feel anyway. Well, I like Bird too. Here, we'll put him down here. How's that? You have to check to see if you have it on live chat. Oh, I don't. Dang it. And if see, if I switch it now, then it's going to screw it up. Check Streamlabs. Check Streamlabs. Not sure why you. Did you? Night Breeze, you donated $1. You did, and I'm so sorry. I saw that on the screen, and then I got sidetracked by having Captain Foley in the house and mistakenly thinking that Kuroga is a decent place. Night Breeze puts in $1, says, don't forget to select live chat, hit the like, turn on notifications, tell your friends, donate treats for Anti, down with Kuroga, and let the chat choose. So the chat gets to choose a super chat reward. So the first super chat reward request I get to, I will play that one. It's better than red, but I have been told off by Anti-Trekker for saying I'm better than I actually am. Well, here's the thing. Just don't lie. I'm not telling you off. I'm just saying don't lie. If you're not feeling well, admit it when people ask. Because here's the thing. If somebody is asking you how you're feeling, then that shows that they have at least some level of concern for your well-being. And so you owe it to them to tell them the truth. Thomas Potts says, I used to think Foley was the best Trek YouTuber, but he's a Kurogan now. Yeah, me too. Where's my track? Where's my plaque, Anti-Checker? Well, where's your allegiance to Turtistan, Captain? Been messing around with the idea of doing gaming videos on my channel with my daughter, the Klingon Gamers. That could be fun. Weighted companion turd. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, she loved watching me play Portal and loved the companion cube. Yeah, and so did my daughter. Hail Turkestan? Turkestan? How much does Captain Foley weigh? Well, that's impossible to measure precisely because he's so frictionless that he can't stand still on a scale. So yeah, that's a problem. Turkestan, my bad. Okay, you corrected. I'll give you that. For game night, all Canadians must be shirtless. Well, okay. Well, I'll try to remember. Is that a new rule? Captain Trek is having a yellow turd day. Well, that's good. I mean, honestly, I wish I was in a yellow turd mode, but I've been in a red turd mode so long, I almost forgot what it's like. And Trek Yards is the first to put in a request for number 11. Sumo Prey likes French fried potatoes. Mm-hmm. Yes, he does. That is very true. Hey, guys. And thank you, Captain Foley, even though it's Night Breeze that paid the bill. Let's see. Springtime says, long live Turtistan, thank you. Where is Hulk, says Darren, because he hates me. Paul Ekenes says, by the way, Paul, don't forget to put at Anti-Trekker if you want me to read it, but I happen to see this. It says, if the crew of Star Trek TNG came across a planet that had a species of evolved as humans, but were under the dominion of interdimensional shape-shifting reptilian and evolved species, was just a food. And I assume you're going to ask the question of, would it be a violation of the Prime Directive to allow them to eat another sentient species? Yes, it would be. At least in my opinion. As far as the letter of the law of the Prime Directive, just because one species is eating another species doesn't give you the right to interfere with the natural development of those cultures. Unless you can demonstrate that, one of them, I don't know, violated the Prime Directive themselves, but then they would have to be a member state of the Federation. Death by Ray says, you could finish the game with the companion cube, FYI. I heard there is a way. I've never done it. Biden, Sanders, Trump, shoot, vote, or avoid. I'm not going to even touch that one, Neil Normie. Jeff says, how's your day? I'm not going to lie. I'm not great. Could have been worse, but just the pain is just really, really wearing me down. But I'm trying to stay positive, at least as positive as I can. Cronus says you're skipping chats better than normal. I apologize, Cronus. I'm just trying to get caught up so we can get into the game. It looks like Captain Foley is not gonna join the game. Come on, Captain Foley. Don't you want to try some Star Trek trivia? I'm telling you, Captain Foley, you can prove I will, if you can get these trivia questions. When is this trivia that you speak? I sent you the freaking link, Captain Foley. Go to your Facebook right now. Go to your Facebook Messenger right now. I sent you the link so you can be the first person invited in, because I'm going to make the link public in a minute, and then the first 5 normally get in, but because you are a VIP, I was just trying to give you a backstage pass, and you won't take advantage of it. So I'll give you a second. I will join. Excellent. Well, then click on the button when I see you backstage on my StreamYard. I will let you in. And Night Breeze throws a couple of bucks while we're waiting and wants number 27. Is that the one I think it is?
Hey, Joshua, I just want to make sure you knew I had a new super chat idea for you. Hey,
Oh, no more super chats, you bastard!
Stop hiding people's faces to avoid lip sync.
By the way, Joshua just finished some animation work for me, but I got to do some work to get the video done. It's going to be awesome when it is done. And I see, okay, so there's Captain Foley. Hey, Captain, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, my friend. So you're not drinking Crown Royal, are you?
I am not. No.
You need to get some?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, just checking. Hey, I'm drinking Southern Comfort. It would only be appropriate if you were drinking Crown Royal. All right, so
I don't have any Crown Royal at the moment.
you don't. I thought you.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
I thought as a Canadian, you were like required to keep like a barrel of it in your basement.
Generally, yes, but I'm out, so it's fine.
All right. All right, so now that Captain Foley is here, I will switch to the old game screen so you can see that, yes, that is him that I'm talking to. And I'm going to make the link public. Yes, Auntie. And so that now the next 4 people to come in will be able to join Captain Foley in a game of Trek Trivia. So we'll see how he does here.
You say it like I'll be good at this or something.
Well, you should be.
You'd think, right?
Yeah. I was actually originally going to be a real jerk and like ask everybody else really easy Star Trek questions, and then when I got to you, I'd ask you like a really hard question about the Avengers movies or something. I thought that would be fun.
Oh man. No love. No love.
All right, so we got John DeMarco. We got Springtime. I think this is your first time on Springtime. Welcome.
My second time.
Hello.
Oh, okay. And hey, John. And Vile Mike is here. Hey, Vile.
Howdy.
And Night Breeze donated $1 and wants to see number 28. While we're waiting for one more person to join up, I will play that. And then we'll get... Wait a minute. Yeah, there's 28. And by the way, just to put a little context in that, the reason we do a Bob's Burgers opening with Bird of Prey is because Bird of Prey hates Bob's Burgers. True story. All right, and it looks like Renegade is the other person to come in. Hey, Renegade.
Hey, Annie Trekker.
How you doing?
I'm alright, how's yourself?
Not too bad. And so, Renegade, since you are the last to join, you get the honor of picking, should Captain Foley have to answer a Star Trek The Original Series question or a Star Trek The Next Generation question?
Let's go with Next Generation.
All right. Next Generation is the name of the game tonight. All right, Captain Foley. Now, I'm flipping through this book of questions. I want you to tell me stop anytime you want.
Stop.
All right, let's see. What did you pick? All right. All right, name the episode in which they do a survey of a black cluster?
I honestly don't know.
All right, so the rules of the game is since you... Oh, man, I don't have a scorekeeper because Thomas can't keep score tonight. Oh, goodness, this is going to be a challenge, so I'm going to bring up a notepad. Well, that's not a notepad. That would be Discord. And so, hold on just a second. So, obviously, Captain Foley blows it on the first one, but that's okay. He's got a couple more opportunities to try and make up for his humiliation. All right, and let's see. We got Foley, we got John, we have Renegade, we have Vile, and we have Springtime. All right. So, John, any idea what episode we're talking about?
Maybe. In theory.
No. Renegade.
Is it hero worship?
It is hero worship. Very good.
I was trying to remember the name of it. I knew which one it was.
Well, you got it. You did know which one it was, so you didn't lie. All right. So let's see. SC says if I ask Captain Foley headcanon questions, he'll get them all right.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If every question was so, in your opinion, how could you possibly get it wrong? All right. So that's 1 point for Renegade. John, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So in hero worship, what percentage of Vico's computer records are lost?
50%.
No. And by the way, just so you know, Captain Foley, if you get a shot at this one, if you get within 10% of the correct answer, any numerical question, I'll give it to you. Renegade.
38%.
No, it is not 38%. Vile.
75%.
Percentage is 100 base, so within 10, yes, you got it. It was 83%.
Yes.
So I that was pushing it, like but I'm going to give it to you. All right. Why? Because your name is not Stuart.
Thank you.
Renegade, you ready?
Yep.
All right. What color does Timothy run out of while painting?
Black?
No. Vile.
Blue.
No. Springtime.
Red?
Yes.
I was just guessing that.
Yeah, that was just going to come down to process of elimination. So Springtime gets one. All right, so now Vile. Let's see. Oh man, let's see. Okay. What episode opens with a discussion in 10 forward between Riker, Data, Worf, Brian, and Keiko while trying to come up with a name for the O'Brien's soon-to-be-born child?
Oh, shoot. We just talked about this one.
You should know it.
Don't remember, but I think it was the one with Picard Day.
Springtime, you got any ideas?
Disaster?
It is Disaster, dang. You robbed Captain Foley. I know he was chomping at the bit for that one. Speaking of Springtime in Disaster, what are the last names of the children Picard takes on the tour? Bonus points if you can list from oldest to youngest. And by the way, I'll give you the point if you can get any of their names.
Can I just go as like Kid 1, Kid 2, and Kid 3 because that was kind of a bullshit episode. I really honestly don't remember.
No problem. All right, Captain Foley.
Yes. God damn it.
There's 3 kids there. You gotta know one of their names.
Are you sure it wasn't Kid 1 and Kid 2?
I'm pretty sure. By the way, Captain Foley, I will give you a hint. The turbo shaft in this episode is not 67 miles across, unlike in later iterations of Trek.
Right? Jeremy.
Did you listen to the question?
No.
Okay, that explains a lot. So
I said one name, so.
that's true, but I also said what are the last names of the children? Jeremy, not generally considered a last name.
Oh, good God.
You
No, I don't know. I'm going to go up.
John.
Johnson.
No. Renegade.
Marisa Flores.
Yes! Very good. The names are Flores, Gross, and Supra. You know, those well-known characters. So,
I
Renegade...
just remember that one of them was making radishes or for some reason. He's in space. What the hell?
Well, you know, they're dumb kids. All right, so let's see. I asked that one to springtime, right? So this would be an easy one for you, Captain Foley, because this is a technical question.
Okay.
All right. So in Disaster, we learn where Data's ventricle access panel is located. Where is it?
Jesus Christ. Behind his left ear.
All right. Whenever it's close enough to where I would say I'm in doubt, I let the next person in line decide whether you get the point. So, John.
Yes.
You heard Captain Foley's answer.
Yeah.
The correct answer is 2 centimeters below his right ear.
Oh, Jesus.
I think you should get it.
All right. So Captain Foley gets a point because John is a pushover.
By the way, I can't hear John at all, and I can't hear any of his answers.
You can't hear any of them?
Nope.
Oh, that's weird, because that's a StreamYard thing then, StreamYard thing. Can the rest of you hear Foley?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got a weird setting in there then, Captain.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or are you just telling me that because... And yes, Thomas, I realize that we asked those questions like a couple of weeks ago, and nobody remembered that. Well, just for you, Captain Foley, I will repeat everyone else's answer then for you.
Well, just John is the only one I can't hear.
Oh, John's the only one you can't hear? Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so, and let's see, whose turn is it? It's John's turn, right? Or wait. Yeah, because...
Yeah, John's turn.
Okay, so John, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, let's see. In this episode, an away team beams down to an archaeological dig on a planet. Worf is leading the away team and makes an emergency distress call. They then beam... Make sure that I don't give away anything from the other answers. Yes. They beam the team to the sick bay, and Dr. Maria Astor, an Enterprise archaeologist, is presumed dead on arrival. Which episode are we talking about?
The bonding.
Very good. I did not know that one. But then again, I suck at TNG trivia. Renegade.
Yep.
What was Astor's rank?
Lieutenant?
Did I say that? No, I didn't. I said doctor. Good. So, yes, it was lieutenant.
Well, I just guessed because Worf's a lieutenant, so I can't imagine he'd be in command of someone with a higher rank.
Yeah. All right. Vile.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Jeremy's quarters?
On the Enterprise.
That's very true. I'll give you a hint. They're looking for what deck is it on?
Deck 12. I don't know.
No, springtime.
For some reason, I want to say deck 7.
No, Captain Foley. Now, come on. This is a ship layout question.
Deck 8.
Yes. I was going to be mad at you if you didn't get that one. And you know what? I would have gotten that, but not from that episode. I would have gotten it because it's a crew quarters, and I always remember when Riker is inviting Shelby begrudgingly to this poker game, and he's like, deck 8.
Yeah.
All right. And Man of Sand wants to know who's Jeremy. I don't know. Jeremy was one of the characters in that episode.
He's the kid that joins Worf's house.
It never gets mentioned again.
Yes, because, you know, in Star Trek, they care about continuity so much. Speaking of continuity, because, you know, why not? This episode features a debris field created in the final confrontation of a terrible war between the Menthars and the Promelians. I'm sure I'm butchering those names. What episode are we talking about? And I believe we are on... Who are we on? Who did I ask the last one to? I think was that Renegade, right? No,
Yeah.
wait. Who did I... Was it you that I asked the last one, Renegade?
Yeah, I was the last one.
All right, so then Vile. What episode are we talking about?
I know the episode, but I don't know the title, so I'm just going to have to pass. I can't even come up with a clever joke this time.
Right. Speaking of clever jokes, when's that video about Balance of Terror coming?
If I can get it edited in time, it'll be a week from Sunday.
Ah, cool. Looking forward to it. Springtime.
I'm going to say booby trap.
It is Booby Trap. Very good.
Yep.
See, Captain Foley's like, yeah, I knew that one. All right, springtime.
It says it has booby in it. Of course, I knew it.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Remember, when you think of smooth, silky boobies, think of Captain Foley.
That's just wrong on so many levels.
What? Okay, so springtime. What is the name of the young lady LaForge seeks to impress with his holodeck programming? I'll let's see. Oh, she appears in more than one episode. I didn't know that.
Yeah, let me see.
If you can get her first or her last name, I'll give it to you. Because I know it's one of those obscure characters that nobody thinks of.
All I know is that she was an ensign and I want to say a Salas or something like that, but
Nope.
it just like they could never give him a girlfriend.
I know. What's up with that? Why is you know if Star Trek: The Next Generation were made today, we would just find out that Geordi was gay all along. But
Do you want to know something really sad? And
what was that something they were considering?
That was my mom's theory the entire time.
Oh, that he was actually gay, and that's why he could never.
Yeah,
get a
because
girlfriend?
they were watching it back in the day, and she was like, "Yeah, he's totally gay."
I hope not. Captain Foley.
Her name was Christy Henshaw.
Whoa! Wow. Captain Foley knows his ladies, apparently. Or he's just really good at looking things up on Google. Echo Base Network donated $4.99, says, giving you a shout out on your bonus featurette on the documentary. Oh, very cool. Tomorrow night. Thanks for your contributions. Thank you, Echo Base. I appreciate that so much. And I appreciate the $4.99 even more. But yeah, and if you haven't seen it, have you seen the Echo Base Star Wars documentary? Have you guys seen it?
Literally just heard about it.
Oh man,
I haven't seen it.
It is really good. So you should check it out. He Doomcock actually narrates it, but not with the voice modulator and everything, just with his natural voice. And it's a serious look at kind of what happened to Star Wars. Anyway, back to it. So, by the way, I'm very impressed with you knowing that lady's name, Captain Foley, but I'm assuming that you probably just looked it up really slyly.
Is that an option? Because I'm on my phone right now and I can't really swap over to Google to look it up.
Well, we can't see you, so you can't prove that, but, you know, that's all right.
He probably remembers her from the episode she's in where she's in the bathing suit.
It must be. All right, Captain Foley. Oh, wow, nice TV. I've seen that room before. We didn't need to see that. Fortunately, you have your shirt on, so I'll give you that much. All right, Captain Foley, here's your question. What battle strategy of the Menthars was comparable to one used by Napoleon? You don't have to name it exactly, but if you get the general gist, I will give it to you.
I don't know.
And Thomas Potts puts in $1.99, says, "Good night, everyone, and win Captain Foley."
Hello, world.
Wow, that's not biased. And Fleet Paw puts in $1.99, says, "Foley doesn't cheat. Go, Captain Foley." Wow, they like you tonight.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
All right, so, but can he name the strategy is the real question.
I'm gonna have to say no.
John, any idea?
Is it some kind of flanking maneuver?
No, it is not a flanking maneuver. Renegade.
Is it something to do with mines?
No. Vile Mike.
A feint.
Can you be more specific?
No, because if it's not a flanking maneuver, the only other military term I can think of is feint.
Well, it's not that one. I'm not going to give you. That's not specific enough. Springtime.
As far as like the Napoleonic Wars, really the only thing I'm thinking of is some sort of like cavalry charge, but it seems like an odd comparison anyway, since I don't think France and Britain destroyed each other in that war. Captain Foley might be able to correct me on that one, but...
Why, because he was there?
No, because I'm remembering the episode. It just sounds like a really bad comparison. Like
no, the answer, and I don't, and I'm not an expert on the Napoleonic Wars or anything, so I don't know how accurate it is. But the answer is the passive lure stratagem, leaving basically something that looks like an easy target to lure people in and then ambush them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that is exactly what happened to the Enterprise in that episode.
you mean the time when Picard forgot to check to make sure there weren't any actual mines in a probable minefield?
Yeah. Oh, well, we don't need to scan or anything. Of course, then again, we did find out, and I guess we can explain a lot of the problems with episodes like that now that we know, thanks to episode 7 of Picard, that the outer rim of shield range is about 100 feet. Gotta love that. All right, so here we go. All right, so who are we on? That last question went to whom?
No one.
Oh, it went to you, huh? Okay. John!
Yes.
All right, you're awake. What?
Yes.
In what episode did an away team of Riker, Worf, and LaForge beam down to Galorndon Core, which is an inhospitable planet buffeted by severe electromagnetic storms?
I know the answer. Can I answer?
The enemy.
Captain Foley, you want to answer that one?
The neutral zone.
Yeah, right. Anyway, John.
The enemy.
Yes, it is the enemy. Very good, my friend. Well, why did you think it was the neutral zone, or were you just being stupid?
Well, I thought because that was the away team that beamed down in that one. So sorry, my bad.
That's the only episode you know that had an away team?
Yes, with those crew members, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
All right. Renegade.
Yep.
How did LaForge detect the Romulan ship? I'll give you a hint. Think of Star Trek Picard.
No, I have no idea. Yeah.
All right. Vile.
He used multimodal reflection sorting and something to do with the EM spectrum.
No, but good remembering of something Data said. Springtime.
Well, the fact that they beamed down to that planet, I'm guessing that in reality they were just, hoping to catch them off guard or something like that.
Right, but how did he detect the Romulan ship?
Something involving tachyons or gravity fields?
No, did not
I
involve
honestly don't
tachyons
remember.
or gravity. Captain Foley. And I gave the greatest hint, too. But,
I was going to say a tachyon detection grid, but that ain't it. I do not know.
John.
Did he use his visor?
No. Good guess. But no, remember I said the hint was to think of Star Trek Picard because he used a positron scan. Positron. Yes. That was the word we were looking for today. Vile Mike.
I'm prepared to get this one wrong.
Besides Pearl Harbor, what other location does Picard remember as the stage for events that comprised of a bloody preamble to war?
Something to do with the rule of three, where two of them took place on Earth and one of them was fictional only to Star Trek.
That's true, except that there was only two, and one was real and one is fictional to Star Trek.
Oh, darn.
Springtime.
Space Station Salem 4, I want to say, and in hindsight, that little scene was kind of cringeworthy, if you know what I mean.
All right, so this is one that's so close that I could go either way. So, Captain Foley, you get to decide whether Springtime gets the point. You heard his answer?
Yes.
The correct answer is Station Salem 1.
Yes.
So
I would say he gets the point.
All right. So there you go, Springtime. Captain Foley's a pushover, which puts you in the lead, actually.
Well, in that case,
too late now. So you better get this one right, Captain Foley. All right. So we're gonna shuffle the deck a little bit, and all right. Okay. You ready, Captain?
Sure.
Name the episode that starts with Picard returning via shuttle from a conference on Starbase 718. And you are going to punch yourself in the face if you do not get this.
It's the neutral zone.
It is.
Okay, thanks for saying that, because I wouldn't have guessed that.
So yes.
Perfect.
It's funny because I just flipped the book to the neutral zone and I just had to laugh because I was like, okay, you better get this one. Okay, John.
Yes.
Okay, when did television finally die off?
Ooh, I know this one.
I'll give you a hint.
2030.
Oh, so close. Renegade.
Yep.
When did TV die?
2023.
No. Wow, Mike.
2364.
What? When 2030 was really close and you go to 2364?
I don't know. I'm just pulling a number out of my butt.
Yeah, that's you got a big old butt then. Springtime.
You wouldn't believe it.
I'm
going to make this as cringe-worthy as possible because I'm pretty sure I'm right, but you guys are going to think that this makes no sense. They were probably talking about analog cable broadcast television, and it finally dies somewhere on Earth in the year 2041.
close enough. That is definitely within the 10%. It is 2040.
Yes. I'm still shocked by that figure to this day. It just doesn't make any sense in hindsight.
No, it doesn't. But why not? So springtime. Man. I'll tell you, springtime and Captain Foley are running neck and neck now. Foley's got 4. Springtime's got 5.
I just want to hear Captain Foley's explanation for television lasting in the third world until 2040. I'm sorry. I want to see an episode on that.
Captain Foley, the challenge has been levied against you. Explain why television will still be around until 2040.
We're talking broadcast television with cable as an option.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Well, but the funny thing is, so in Picard, we kind of see that broadcast television is still going in the beginning of the 25th century, really. It's just, they call it the hollow.
I mean, jokes aside, it actually is kind of cringy because we know that streaming services are going strong. It's just, what they were referring to the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of, wow, Earth's economy goes down the tubes in the next couple of months.
Yep, and by the way, I'm working on a video right now that theorizes that Starfleet was founded in August of 2019. That's when Trump signed Space Force into law.
Anti-tracker, can I ask you a question since I believe you were in the Army?
Yes, I was in the Army.
How do you feel about the Space Forces, and you can look this up, this is their current uniform, using the Army version of the U.S. Army Air Force uniform with the black name tags?
It doesn't
and the
bother me per se.
Flags.
I don't really. I haven't seen the uniforms, but honestly, I think that I assume that the uniforms they're using is just like.
He tweeted, the commander of the Space Force tweeted a picture of his new uniform, and it's literally like, I see him on a daily basis. It's literally a U.S. Army uniform.
Right. And Sci-Fi Nation, no, Space Force has not been around since the 60s. And however, I know what you're talking about as far as like in fact, the Missile Command unit that then evolved into Space Command, that then evolved into Space Force, has been around actually since like the 40s as the earliest you can really trace it back. The Delta Shield logo goes back as far as 1983. But actually there are variants of the Delta Shield that go all the way back to the 40s. But Space Force as a military force was created in August of last year. Before, it was just a group within the Air Force. So, But I'm got the whole anyway, getting all sidetracked there. Who did I ask that one to about television? That was John, right? Or was it?
I think it was
That was
me.
me.
Who was me? Someone said they thought it was me.
Yes, John, I believe.
Okay, so Renegade.
Yep.
How long ago was the last contact with the Romulans?
I want to
As of
say
the-
about 80.
As of the date of the neutral zone. So you want to say 80 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think they're in isolation for about 80 years.
Incorrect. Vile.
I believe it was the Tombed incident, but I don't know what year it took place. So
It's not the year. They want to know how many years prior to the incident at the neutral zone.
100 years.
No, that would put it before Enterprise. Or no, actually, no, it would put it before the original series. I mean, springtime.
I want to say 55 years, because my math is bad, and I know it was in 2311.
Well, I don't know about the year, but your math is good enough for government work. It was 53 years, 7 months, 18 days. Obviously, Data is the one who cited that one. All right, and that one was asked to Renegade. So next up, let's go to... You ready, Vile?
No, but go ahead.
Okay. Let me make sure that that's not the answer to anything. No, okay. So, when the Enterprise investigates a raid on a Federation research facility and they determine that the Gatherers are responsible. What episode is that?
Insert witty comment here.
Close, but no. Springtime.
The Vengeance Factor?
It is. Dang, Springtime. You are cleaning up today.
Well, it was a season 3 question, so...
Well, what, you particularly
Well, it's
versed
my
in
favorite
season 3?
season.
Okay. So, very good. So, although insert witty comment was a good answer, I'll give you that, Vile. All right, so, springtime, since... let's see if we can completely bury any chances Captain Foley has to catch you. What is the vaporization temperature for moranium alloy?
Well, first I want to just do a PSA. Okay, so Captain Foley, remember your Canadian dollars are still good in Alaska, so just,
That's true.
Just
That's
visit
probably
up
why you're
and
crushing
money.
them, because you're in Alaska. I forgot about that.
But I do know it's setting 6. I don't recall the temperature. I just know they set setting 6 on the hand phaser.
Okay, so Captain Foley, any idea how hot setting 6 will go?
It's vaporization for what?
For some fictional magic space metal that was in the Vengeance Factor.
I have no idea.
Not gonna guess?
200 degrees.
Really? You think metal vaporizes at 200 degrees? Human flesh doesn't vaporize at 200 degrees.
We talking Fahrenheit or Celsius here?
It does not indicate. It only says what the answer was as it was said in the episode.
Well, let's assume it's Celsius since
Okay,
it's
if it's Celsius, what would that be in Fahrenheit?
I have no idea what that would be in Fahrenheit.
Well, throw me a Fahrenheit number then.
450.
Well, you're closer. John?
1,000 degrees.
Still closer. Renegade.
12,000 degrees?
No, too high. Vile.
1,100 degrees.
1,200 degrees was not warm enough, and you're guessing 1,100 degrees.
Oh, I thought you said it was.
I said he was
okay,
closer.
then 1,500 degrees.
No, but you were the closest of everybody. It was 2,314 degrees.
That's what I said. I just said I missed a number. It was 200. It's supposed to be 2,000.
That's what it is. All right.
And technically, there are metals that do vaporize at lower temperatures.
Right.
Yeah, but 200 degrees? Well, I mean, like, I know mercury would probably have a pretty low vaporization, but I'm pretty sure 200 degrees wouldn't vaporize mercury.
To be fair, it did seem to be, now that I recall it, it did seem to be kind of gaseous, so might have been like magic space mercury that would kill the people who were firing it at.
Well, you know, magic space mercury, Captain Foley without a shirt, same thing.
That would have been an awesome episode. You got to admit, like, Worf's like, Commander, why are we gassing people? Shut up, Worf.
All right, so let's see. We'll do one more. Let's see. Oh, here's an episode I hate. All right. All right, so whose turn is it? Who'd I ask the last one? Don't all jump out at once.
You'd think we'd be paying attention to this point.
Yeah, I know. You'd think that the person I actually asked the question to would remember that I asked them the question.
I think.
Was it
Well,
you?
if we went through everybody, wouldn't that mean that Foley got it?
All right, so it's Foley. You ready, Captain?
No, I think that would mean it's John's turn.
Well, I don't know. We'll give Foley a shot at it to redeem himself because he's being humiliated by springtime. A Canadian humiliated by an Alaskan. That's got to hurt in so
No, I'm
many
just
different-
saying that as a Canadian, he needs to spend some money in Alaska. It's only fair. The rest of the North America is helping out. I mean,
You hear that, Captain? You gonna make a trip to Alaska?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's kind of far away from me, though.
That's true. You're closer to me than you are to Alaska.
Yeah.
Although I've been to Alaska twice, both times to visit my sister who lives in Fairbanks.
I'm not advocating fully that you go to Fairbanks, by the way.
Where are you advocating people go?
Anchorage, that's where I live.
Oh, I see. Do you guys have any big conventions in
I'm pretty sure
Anchorage?
Foley would say the same thing if I wanted to go to Canada. He'd be like, don't go there. Go to the place where I live. That's the nice place.
I don't think Foley says London is the nice place. Do you?
No, it's near some nice places, though.
I rest my case.
But now, do you guys have any good conventions in Anchorage?
Do you want to hear something really sad?
You've never had one?
I'm literally going to a gun show at the end of the month.
See, we need to get like a Anchorage Comic-Con going. You can get Captain Foley to like headline it because, you know, to an Alaskan, that's like having a real celebrity. And then Captain Foley can insist that as part of his contract that they fly me up there and we can all hang out.
Done.
That's shockingly close to reality. Because I've seen like the last Comic-Con offering, and it was downtown, and it looked sad.
Well, there you go. You get Captain Foley. And Captain Foley will get some of his celebrity buddies like Manu and stuff to show up. And we'll have a panel just called People Captain Foley Knows.
I'm going to shut up now because this would get dark really quick if I told you what downtown Anchorage is like. Foley would be like,
Okay, I know Anchorage is the biggest. It's like half the population of Alaska, which makes it the population of a large town in most states. I get it.
yeah, sure, buddy. That's what I was referring to.
Oh, you're just talking about how horrible and decrepit it is? I don't know. I've never been to Anchorage.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out at night. It was,
Wow. So I guess grizzly bears aren't the only... Well, actually, you guys have grizzlies, don't you?
we got polar bears.
Well, I know you
Up
got polar
north.
bears up north, but I don't know.
You need to be afraid of the mooses. Those things will trample anybody.
Oh, man. I saw a moose up close at my sister's... on my sister's land, and holy crap, that thing scared the crap out of me.
They're huge.
Yes.
Yeah, The bears are kind of pushovers. The mooses, they're like, yeah, I'm not scared of you, buddy. I don't care what you're planning.
Yeah, if you go through the Rocky Mountains, there's signs that say the most dangerous animal there is the elk.
The elk?
Yeah, they're the most aggressive.
I can see that. I mean, Northern California. What was that, Val?
Oh, nothing. I was just turning off a light and lighting a new cigar.
Okay. So now you're doing your Captain Rios impersonation.
So what question?
Sure, why not?
So what question were you going to ask Captain Foley before I decided to be merciful to him and try to distract you?
Well, it's not going to work. But, Wow, Matt Deckard, that was dark. They eat moose cock up there.
I've not heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I mean, you got two people on the panel from up there. I don't think that they would agree with you. Anyway, so Captain Foley.
Yes.
What episode opens with a shuttle returning to the Enterprise? On board the shuttle is Picard, Guinan, Ro, and Keiko. In other words, what episode do you ever see Picard, Guinan, Ro, and Keiko together doing anything?
Rascals.
Yes, it's Rascals.
That episode sucked.
Yes, it did. You may not have noticed, but when I first opened the book to this page, I said I don't like this episode. So, speaking of which, John.
Yes.
What is the name of the shuttle that is destroyed at the beginning of the episode?
Justman?
No. Renegade.
Um.
And I'll tell you guys, you're not going to guess it if you don't know it.
The Copernicus?
No. That's why I say you're not going to guess it because it's not a well-known name. Vile. Oh, excuse me, Vile.
Well, I had a joke in mind, but once you said that, I want to say Goddard.
It is not the Goddard. Springtime.
For some reason, I want to say Curie.
It is not Curie. All right, Captain Foley, here's your chance to redeem yourself. We're talking about a ship name here. What was the name of that shuttle?
The Magellan.
I really thought you had a chance at that one, Foley. It's the Fermi.
Why did they even bother to name shuttlecraft?
Well, you'd have to ask Darren if there's a tradition in the Navy for it, but, because the official name of the shuttle is actually, like, for example, the Galileo 7 that we see so often in the original series, the actual name of the shuttle is Enterprise Shuttle 7.
Well, my simple point is just knowing, like, being an aviation buff, I just know that, for example, they don't, on the aircraft carrier, they won't name all the helicopters.
Right.
They'll give them maybe call signs, but it seems like they go out of their way to, like, paint it on the side. I'm thinking, like,
I think it's just
be more little.
Somebody thought it would be cool to name the shuttlecraft Galileo in the original series, and then they just said, okay, we got to name all the shuttles now.
I just liked how they just painted it on the side like it was like a cool little call sign, but I think later on they took it a little too far.
All right, so Renegade, you ready?
Yep.
How many people are in the science team on LEGO 7?
15?
No, Vile.
42.
No, but I'm amazed you didn't guess like 400 million. Springtime.
Well, I wanted to say a certain joke because this was the episode Rascals, And I actually made a reference to Rascals in one of my videos, but no, I can't make the joke now.
Well, then you need to work on your jokes better.
6.
No, definitely not 6. Captain Foley, another chance to try to redeem yourself.
With one of the not great episodes. Awesome. Let's say 28.
No, John.
20.
No, you guys all were way too low. 103.
Oh,
That's right.
And I think I was going to say 47 at one point. Hey, just to clarify, is this the episode where the kids take over the Enterprise because Picard just
No, it's the one where
taking over
Picard, Guinan, Ro, and so become kids. They get
how
hit
did the
by
Ferengi
energy and they
take over
get de-aged.
So how did the Ferengi take over a Galaxy-class starship so easily?
Worf gave up.
You know, he's not the badass warrior he makes himself out to be. You guys know that, right? He's just putting on the motions.
Well, think about it this way. The Ferengi had 2 old birds of prey, and just one of them was able to destroy the Enterprise in generation, so they had 2. He might as well just give up.
Well, here's the thing, though, about Worf being a badass. Worf technically is a badass. It's just that the writers kept running into this problem where, in order to prove that the villain is a badass, you have them beat the crap out of Worf. But they did it so often that it just made it look like Worf is a complete pussy.
That's why there's actually a trope now called the Worf effect.
Right. Yeah, because Worf is actually the best fighter on the ship. It's just that since, you know, when they want to show, ooh, these guys are tough. Wow, they can beat a Klingon. Well, apparently everybody can, you know. But
Well, I do know a little bit of trivia for that episode. Yeah, I know. Shocking. And
so it's prison yard rules. Beat up the bigger guy.
pretty much. And Worf is the biggest
instead
guy
of the
on the Enterprise.
I just know that some trivia. Instead of the Ferengi, they wanted to be the Cardassians, but A, they would have had to use new VFX shoots. And B, they thought it would be way too dark.
Really?
Yeah, that was the original idea, that the Cardassians took over the Enterprise, which seems kind of believable, but then they realized it's the Cardassians, so you might as well have had Al-Qaeda take over the Enterprise.
Okay, before we get to our last round of questions here, I got a question for Captain Foley specifically.
Yes, dear.
Dear? Wow. No, the serious question. What is your thought of the Romulan snakehead fighter?
My serious thought is you'll have to watch your episode about it.
I know you're going to do an episode on it, but I'm just curious what your gut reaction to it was. I know you're going to break it down and analyze it. I'm not asking you to do that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, honestly. It's a little too simplistic. Doesn't look very much like a Romulan ship. I know they say it's armed to the teeth, which would be great to see, but it just doesn't impress me.
He had a joystick.
Yes, he did, and we talked about that in our episode.
You see, I didn't mind the ship itself. I thought that it did look Romulan. But
I mean, the fact that he had like a legit fighter-type joystick, that seems kind of a little out of place.
Yeah.
Well, just because they don't tend to use them in Trek, but they're actually a logical thing to have because you would have better control over a ship if you have a tactile interface like that.
Isn't that Tom Harris's argument for the Delta Flyer?
No, what I meant
didn't the
is
Scorpion
that
class thing have little joystick things on each side?
Well, what I meant is that it would have been nice if they had tried to come up with what aesthetically a Romulan joystick or like a flight stick for a fighter would
Romulan
look
hands
like.
are just like humans. How?
Yeah, but it looks exactly like one of the joysticks I had that I used to play Jane's fighting ships on back on my old computer. It's exactly the same. They didn't change it.
Well, I just know that for like fighter aircraft, like some of the button arrangement switches around between countries, like east and west. So it would have been nice if they had like a little like subtle, like he maybe uses his thumb or a different button to like press the weapons or something like that. It would have been a little nice touch, but it looked like a flat out.
Just add a light to it. Add a light or two to the top of it.
I could
Make it look
see
different.
that, but I like I said, the joystick didn't bother me because it was not like the camera was focused in on the joystick the whole time.
What, like in Insurrection?
Yeah, that was bad. But now, the only thing I really didn't like about the ship were two things. One, why the hell did they call it a snakehead?
Because it looked like a copperhead snake.
Right,
head.
but Romulan
Same shape.
ships are supposed to have a bird aesthetic. Why would they go with snake when that's clearly Cardassian?
Because snakes
Have you-
eat birds?
Well, here's
Have
a
you-
thought. Maybe it was
have you-
a Starfleet code name. They didn't actually know the name of it and just called it a snakehead until further notice.
Maybe it was a stolen Cardassian design.
Didn't
And
look
have
very
you heard?
pretty. Go
Have
ahead.
you experienced what the writers of this series are like? Of course, they don't know that Romulans are supposed to have a bird motif.
Well, that's true. But like, I could see even calling it something like a sparrow or whatever, or
Oh dear God!
But I'm just saying, some kind of bird name. But to call it a snakehead, I was like, seriously? So we got snake leaf and snakehead. What's with the riders and snakes? Seriously, what's with these riders and snakes?
You raised
Adam
a
and
good
Eve
point.
parallel.
Yeah.
I know that the ad for
Why do it have to be
Rathby seemed to
snakes?
have a snake motif to it. That should also be added to the list.
Well, that's for the snake leaf. That's an ad for snake leaf.
Well, still, the guy had like a holographic snake around him.
So whose turn is it?
I think it's me.
All right, Vile. Let's see. I'm gonna make it really hard on you. This,
Great.
This, in my humble opinion, is the worst Next Generation episode featuring the Borg.
The Descent.
Very good. Yes.
I got one.
So I'm proud of you, Vile. I figured you'd be able to get that one because you've heard me rail about that one enough. All right, springtime.
Yep.
At the beginning of this episode, Stephen Hawking wins a round of poker with 4 sevens. What is the 5th card in his hand?
I don't know. Jack of clubs. I don't play poker.
So close, but oh. Captain Foley.
Shit. We just reviewed this one too.
Then you should know it.
I should, but it's not like I made notes on that specifically. So
Just take yourself back there. Picture the little machine folding the hand down.
I like his little card machine. I mean,
Yeah.
that was cool.
You see that last card at the very end.
Was it a queen?
Really? You're going to ask me what? I'll give you a hint. I said springtime was close.
And what did he say?
You have to ask him, see if he's willing to repeat
I
himself.
think I said like Jack of clubs. I don't play poker, so
Very good. That is exactly what he said. He said, Jack of clubs, I don't play poker.
So the queen of clubs.
No, John.
Jack of hearts.
No, Renegade.
4 of clubs?
No, Vile.
The Jack of Spades.
You guys all dancing around it. It was the Jack of Diamonds.
I had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah. Well, if Foley had guessed a Jack, then, you would have had it narrowed all the way down. But, you didn't. All right, Captain Foley, you get the last question of the night. You ready?
Oh, yes. So what do you got ready as Overby?
At what moment in time does the replay of Hugh freeze? Hugh appeared in I, Borg.
What moment of time? What do you mean?
Yes. So remember, if in Descent, Picard is in his ready room watching video footage of Hugh when they first put him in the cell. And there's a little time counter going, and he pauses the image. What is the counter, the time frame of the video recording?
Fuck you. That's what it is.
Very
Seriously.
close, but not quite. John.
I didn't
30
have a chance
seconds.
to answer, you dumb bastard.
Renegade.
10 minutes and 30 seconds.
No. Vile.
Humo humo nuku nuku apua.
Close. Springtime.
You used a version of Space Hulu or Netflix?
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
it
know.
was.
I literally don't know.
All right. So,
17 minutes and 1 second.
what'd you say?
17 minutes and 1 second.
Well, you're closer. It was 7:19:04.4.
How the fuck is anybody supposed to know that? Like, seriously.
That's why it's supposed to be, like professional level trivia here. And the amazing thing, though, is Captain Foley, you did get 5 questions right. So you did admirably well, which puts you in second place. But Springtime got 7 right. Congratulations, Springtime. Very good.
Yeah, I'm still not too sure how that happened.
Well, I don't know how it happened exactly, but you can brag to the world that you beat Captain Foley's fair and square in Star Trek trivia.
Congratulations,
No, thanks, Captain Foley. But if I bring this up to people, they're going to look at me funny, like, "Who the hell's Captain Foley, and why the hell should we do this shit?"
Exactly.
Even if I show them this video, they're going to be like,
Well, but all you got to do is show them, because here's the funny thing. People will be like, oh, who the hell is Captain Foley? Then you show them, like, wow, Trek Yards has 54,000 subscribers. And I'm like, holy crap, he must be important. Not realizing.
no, I'm seriously talking about the people I work with. They'll be like, "Who the hell's Captain Foley, and why the hell should we care? And why the hell should we care about what you do on YouTube?"
Well, I tell them Captain Foley is a Canadian.
I could have told that Canadian general, hey, I beat Captain Foley, and he'll probably just look at me funny like,
well, they
Did you
probably
beat him with a bat?
I'm just imagining them saying, so what? You beat a turd, a cartoon Trekkie, a tombstone, a Klingon, a pirate, and that's it?
Well, he didn't technically beat me because I wasn't competing, but he would have beaten me because I would not have gotten any of those questions right. I can tell you that hands down. I would suck at next generation trivia. Now TOS trivia, I think I could crush on, but next gen.
All right. Since I know I can't do next round, I'm gonna go ahead and head out because I gotta finish editing a video.
All right, Val, you have a good one.
Later, guys.
See you, Val.
Later.
So let's see here. We have Daniel and Sci-Fi Nation in the back there. So let's see. Springtime. You got the most questions right. Who do we let in, Daniel or Sci-Fi Nation?
Daniel, I guess.
Hey, Daniel, how you doing?
Hi, Sugar, what's up?
Hey, so we're just hanging out for a couple of minutes now that the trivia part is done, and we're just kind of seeing what's going on in everybody's minds and all that. So, Captain Foley, I haven't had a chance to talk to you directly. What are your thoughts on Picard thus far? I've been on a million live streams with pretty much everybody else around here, but not you.
It's the last 2 episodes that really got better, and I'm hoping it continues to the end of the series. I'm not well, I wouldn't say I'm not disappointed. It wasn't what I expected going into it, but it still has a chance to redeem itself, put it that way.
So now when you say the last few episodes have gotten better, so you like the Riker episode?
I did, very much, yes.
Okay. I didn't. I gotta say, I've been, and you guys know, I've been one of those people out there actually defending the show, but I don't hate the show for sure, but this episode I did not like, and I think it just had too many weird problems.
Yeah, since when has Riker been a woodsman?
Well, Riker grew up in Alaska, and of course, Springtime will tell you that everyone in Alaska lives just like we saw Riker in that episode, right, Springtime?
I've never gone hunting for rabbits, so
Yeah.
sure.
Well, those
not?
weren't
Why
just,
not?
they were deadly, poisonous unicorn rabbits.
They were.
Yeah, you didn't catch that?
Oh yeah, he said to his daughter to remove the venom sac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also had horns.
Yeah. Because, you know,
Apple.
nothing says parent of the year better than sending your preteen daughter out into the woods with a bow and arrow in woods infested with deadly, horned, venomous rabbits.
Well, here's the thing. Just a little bit of a biology trivia. The duck-billed platypus is venomous, and it's known to bite people offensively, so it might have just been more of a defensive mechanism, but
they don't bite.
Like harmless to humans.
Yeah, no, it's the platypus doesn't bite. It's spurs on their feet, and it's only the males. And it's not technically a venom; it's a neurotoxin.
Yes.
Oh, they must live in your corner of the world then.
Oh yes, and you won't die. You just wish you had.
I guess you could probably just not even retcon it, just assume it was a case of him just, messing with his daughter and his daughter messing with him. It might not have even have been that big of a deal. Like, might.
I kind of buy that actually.
Might he just, in worst case, if he was neglectful to not take out the venom sac, it would have been a case of like, well, we're going to have to take some Pepto-Bismol, but.
Well, it just seems kind of crazy that, I mean, okay, I suppose you could retcon away the venom sacs, but
well, I'm just saying, like, I think that in terms of a poisonous animal, it probably was like, like she would have to literally go hug each space bunny to even be in any kind of danger, assuming even that.
I don't know. I have trouble with the killer venomous rabbits.
I just realized Easter on Nepenthe must be terrifying.
Exactly.
Like human-sized Easter bunny with a horn and venom sacs.
Well, in its defense, Andy Trekker, up north in Queensland, we have cane toads, which are highly venomous African frogs that exude poison. So if you lick them, you get sick. People up there take to them with
Why would
golf
you lick
clubs.
a frog?
It's a national sport. I don't think any Queensland parent would mind their kids going out and shooting cane toads with bows and arrows. So it's precedent.
So what you're saying is Riker is actually South African.
Well, Australian. I don't know what the South Africans do to the cane toads.
Sorry, you said African frogs, so I thought South
They
African.
are. They were originally African frogs. They were brought over here to eat cane beetles back in the.
I thought you were Australian, but when you said African frogs, I was like, oh, you must be South African. I got it mixed up.
No, I'm an Australian, but they were African. They were a species of African frog that we brought over here that had no natural predator because they're poisonous, and now they're everywhere.
I'll just bring up a good example for what would have made Riker not the parent of the year in the galaxy. Has anybody ever seen Grizzly Man?
Grizzly Man?
No.
I know that's like the opposite of Captain Foley, right?
No, it's more like some weirdo came up to Alaska to try to be best friends with a bunch of grizzly bears. And
oh yeah, didn't he get killed?
Yeah, he took his girlfriend with him. They went out, tried to make friends with the grizzlies, and the grizzlies got hungry. And other than the people down south, I think everybody who has like grizzly bears was like dumbass.
Yeah, that's definitely like a Darwin Award kind of moment.
But he was trying to prove that grizzly bears are actually friendly.
And Ensign Ricky says it was pretty Ted Nugent of Riker. Yes, I think Riker was definitely inspired by Ted Nugent in that episode. I don't know. And by the way, Captain Foley, do you think that it makes sense? And there's Ensign Ricky's $2. Thank you again, Ensign Ricky. Do you think it makes sense, though, that Riker, who is now no longer active duty Starfleet, retired to a relatively obscure home in the middle of Timbuktu, has defensive shields and anti-cloaking scans built into his house?
Well, first of all, we don't know where Nepenthe is located, so we don't know if it's middle of nowhere. But,
well, we know that it's at least 10 days travel from Romulan space.
Well, from the Borg, the artifact, yeah.
Well, the Borg artifact is in Romulan space.
Yes, but we don't know where in Romulan space either. So,
True.
Anyway, yeah, I thought the shields were actually very cool. I liked it. I had no issues with it.
Okay, just checking.
To be fair, we've never actually seen what like normal home security systems are in the 24th century. So for all we know, this could have just been.
Yeah, but anti-cloaking scans?
Well, I imagine Riker's built up quite an enemies list over his Starfleet career.
Exactly.
I was actually going to lean towards that option too. Maybe it was something that they insisted on, and Starfleet just gave them some extra add-ons.
That seems like pretty heavy-duty. Like, I don't think we would give Colin Powell, machine gun emplacements to put around his house.
Well,
they didn't say anything about phaser turrets.
It could have literally been either take the security add-ons, or we have to send like a team of guys to check up on you. Quote.
Well, all right. So let's see, what else do we have in the episode that, and so let's see, we have the unicorn murder scene. Why didn't Riker and Troy take Thad to the Baku homeworld?
Bad writing.
True.
They could have solved that by simply saying that they had tried everything, but because of the nature of the disease, it was became clear it was a lost cause. Because you should mention it was silicon based.
I think they should have.
The Baku thing didn't take effect until the kids reached a certain age.
But you see, that's a good point. That is a good point. But the thing is that just means that they stop aging once they hit puberty. That's all. That's the only thing we know for sure, the Baku radiation. However, what I think they could have done, and where I would have gone if I was given a pass at rewriting the script, is to simply make Nepenthe. How do you say it? I can never pronounce that stupid planet name. Nepenthe?
Nepenthe.
Yeah. So if they make Nepenthe, you make that the Baku homeworld. And that they went there specifically because of the metaphasic radiation. However, it didn't work out, and they have a small remote place on the other side of the planet from the Baku, so they don't bother them.
Yeah, like a hospital or something.
Yeah, that would actually make more sense to me.
Are you aware of the significance of the Annie-Trek? Are you aware of the significance of the name of the planet?
I'm trying to remember. Doesn't it mean like rest or something like that?
It also means to forget. It's a Greek mythology medicine made with the waters of the Lithane River.
Okay. And I don't know. I like the show overall, but I think that this episode, the biggest problem I think with this episode is it doesn't feel like it moves the plot forward to me.
It's a reunion show episode.
Right. It's just, this is just, I think that Riker and Troy's part should have been 5 minutes in an episode, but since it's Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis, we wanted to revolve a whole episode around it.
Can I bring something up about that episode that's been bothering me?
What's that?
That Romulan's, I forget his name off the top of my head, but his sister is just creeping me out more and more.
Yeah, but I'll say this, at least I've been re-watching the show with Mrs. Anti-Trekker because due to some other scheduling conflicts and stuff, she couldn't watch the first few episodes with me, so we've been kind of re-watching them. And at no point does the brother show any affection to the sister. It is always completely and 100% one-sided, where she's kind of messing with him.
That's because she's going to be the bad guy and he's going to have a moment of redemption and be a good guy.
Probably true. But, or at least he has the potential to redeem himself. I mean, he's been shown that he's conflicted about it this whole time.
Well, I get that. She clearly seems to be, he seems to be having confliction. It's just that she's gone from being weird, creepy sister to being, like, unhinged villain of the week.
Right.
Like, she's, like, literally just taking over the entire board cube away from being a Bond villain.
Well, and that's coming this week, right? From the looks of it. So the, but yeah, so yeah, in the defense of the male Romulan character, he has never like been like turned on or anything by her affections. He's shown.
Well, I will concede that. I mean, like, assuming it's even meant to be affection, I do honestly think she's just trying to like screw with something like
right.
this.
It seems like she does it just because she knows it pisses him off.
It just seems like even if you look at it from that point of view, it still comes off as being like villain of the week. Like she's like that's her whole goal in life is I want to be like a super villain, but I'm working for a government job.
Yeah, but she's like not Vash or whatever, which is even so secret that the Tal Shiar doesn't know about them. Johnson, who's crinkling soda cans in the background? I think that's Captain Foley, actually.
You mean Vash?
Yeah. What are you doing that's making that weird noise?
I don't know. My connection's all crackly whenever you guys talk, so I don't know. It's a connection issue, I guess.
Okay. Or you're just...
I was actually going to bring that up earlier, that it might be an issue with your cell phone, Captain Foley. Because you were mentioning some leg
Canadian
issues
cell
earlier.
service.
Could be. It's happened once or twice with Streamlabs on my phone, but I don't know.
And so, so we have the Zat Vash, which is so secretive that even the Romulan Tal Shiar doesn't know about their existence. And yet she didn't want to kill Hugh because she didn't have legal justification for it.
Well, also, he's a Federation citizen as their project director. That might have been a little hard to explain, even if everybody was on board with it in Starfleet.
Well, he might not even be Starfleet. He might just be a Federation citizen. Haven't got anyone in the Federation Civilian Corps that could cover it up like they can't do in Starfleet with Commodore O.
But if she had killed him, I mean, because remember, the only thing that changed was that she said that, since he was, I can't remember what he did exactly, but since she now had him and Elnor talking about preventing the Romulans from being able to use the cube, now she had justification and she could just take him out. But if she took him out, she wouldn't have any evidence. So why not just kill him and then fabricate whatever evidence you need?
I honestly think this was like one of those moments where the need to fill out some screen time and the actors' contracts probably result in... Like honestly, there probably are times where realistically she'd just be like, shoot both of them and be like, okay, so you all know that Hugh was going for a weapon, but that's a day's worth of acting that neither one of them are going to be doing. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more of a production issue that influences the plot versus anything.
I like how her opponent wields a sword, so she just kills him with throwing knives instead of like a disruptor.
Well, that I actually got, because remember, she actually said this is how the Zat Vash fight the whatever the nun people are called.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So and so she was basically saying this is an ancient rivalry between these two, and that they fought with traditional weapons.
So basically, it's Space Majestic 12 versus Space Knights Templars.
Yeah. And And I can get behind, like, the space nuns. I know a lot of people thought it was stupid, but I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, it's an aspect of Romulan society we hadn't seen before. We haven't seen much of Romulan society, to be honest. The most we ever got to see of the Romulans was in Unification, and that really wasn't all that much. We got to see some people hiding in caves.
Oh, there was that communal soup kitchen.
Well, that's true, but
Well, that was this place that sold soup.
yeah. But you know what I'm saying is that there just wasn't there. Like the Romulans were not fleshed out like the Klingons. So.
No.
So the fact that they have Romulan warrior nuns, I didn't have a problem with it. And their absolute candor concept, I actually like that. In fact, the only thing, like in the last couple of episodes, I really have liked the show a lot, except for the things that I've talked about before. Just that I don't like the fact that the show has a nihilistic streak to it. And the graphic content that makes it a no longer family-friendly show.
I'll agree with the graphic content. The nihilism in Picard doesn't bother me as much as it bothers me in Discovery because of the time period. Because you had the Federation going dark through Deep Space Nine and the TNG movies.
Right. But it's not dark that bothers me. There's a difference between dark and nihilistic.
Yeah.
Because with dark... you can go dark and all that, but nihilistic means that human life basically has no value or no meaning. It's the whole idea of basically giving into pure atheism. The idea that if there's no... And I'm not trying to knock atheists. I know there are plenty of good atheists out there. Don't try to think I'm trying to say that if you're an atheist, you can't be a moral person or anything. But... if you eliminate the idea of any kind of higher power or higher authority, then you eliminate the need for morality. You eliminate the objectivism of morality, and eventually you just get down to, whatever's good for you is ultimately morally correct for you. And if that means killing somebody, who cares? The universe doesn't care. Ultimately, nothing is going to change whether you kill somebody or don't. And that's where nihilism kind of takes you down this really dark path. And there are a lot of people that believe in nihilism. I don't happen to be one of them, and I know that most atheists are not nihilists. But the problem, though, is that the writers of the show clearly are. And because if you look at, has there been an episode of Picard where somebody has not been killed?
No.
Definitely seem to have one of the highest body counts yet.
Right. And the problem is that, and even we've had some incredibly graphic deaths, like what they did to Icheb, and even like the death of Daj in the first episode was pretty graphic, even if it was much briefer than the Icheb torture scene. And then we have the Daj just slaughtering those Romulans. And the problem is that death is not treated by the show like it's a big deal at all. And so, murder is really, not a big deal. And you even to this day, you guys can disagree with me if you want, but to this day, people are out there actively defending 7 of 9's actions at the end of Free Cloud City Rag, or whatever it's called. And
I won't defend her actions. I do think what she did was murder, but I can understand the actions as a characterization. The woman killed her child, and she got revenge.
Right. But
I still think what she did was murder, and she went too far.
But think about this, and this is why when people say it doesn't feel like Trek, this is at the core of it. If this were any Star Trek series that came out prior to Star Trek 2009, and you set up the exact same circumstances that we had in that episode, at the end of the episode, then 7 would have been talked out of killing the person like she was initially, and that would have been the end of it. You know, and
Yeah,
they would have
or-
taken her into custody or something like that.
Condemned by her colleagues after she'd done it.
Say again?
She would have either talked out of it and been redeemed, or carried through with it and be condemned by her colleagues.
Right. As opposed to just, okay, now we get the cool, badass moment where Seven slaughters everybody and we can cheer.
Yeah, that was my problem with it. There was, they missed the opportunity for the moralization lesson.
Right. Now,
let's not forget that Worf killed Duras and Picard chewed him out for it.
Right, but that's the thing.
But he seemed to understand. Well, he seemed to understand the consequences of that and how unacceptable it was. But he was.
And Worf was also going
started
against
opposite.
human values, and he knew it. You know, when he was doing it in practicing the Klingon tradition, and the Klingon tradition is very different than what human standards of morality. And so I could see that if you're taking it into that kind of context. But Seven spent 5 years or 3 or 4 years on Voyager trying to learn to regain her humanity. And what did she learn? To be a murderer.
No, well, that's what I said, though. I don't have a problem with the characterization of it, because she's trying to learn to be human, and in the end, the heartbreak of losing a child turned her into that. But like I said, I agree that, yes, for it to be Trek, she needed to either be talked out of it or told that she was wrong.
Right.
Does anybody else have the problem I'm having with Picard? And it seems kind of like they're saying constantly like it's 25 years since Nemesis. That seems kind of a little short. Like it should have been 50 years or 40 years.
Well, they're trying to make the time frame work. That's the problem.
Let's just we do know people live longer, so it wouldn't be out of canon for Picard to look like he does now, but make it like 40 years after Nemesis. At least give some time to come up with some sort of after-the-fact explanation for half this stuff. Like,
well, I mean, we did have
It seems
McCoy
like they're-
live all the way to the next gen era.
well, this seems like they're trying to cram in explanations for this and that, but just that eventually the timing's just not going to work, or you're going to ask more questions.
No, I think that it's funny because I know a lot of people think that the show is paced too slowly, but I think the biggest problem that the show has is actually a similar problem that Discovery has, which is that the show is too centered on Picard. While I like Picard in this show, if a lot of the side stories that we've been hearing about but not really seeing could have been interesting to explore a little bit.
I think that's a limitation, though, of the number of episodes you've got.
Right, but that's an arbitrary limitation. They don't have to make the season 10 episodes.
No, true.
You know, and they could make it so that there are only 10 episodes that feature Picard heavily. But you could still do a 20 episode season. I mean, how about a story about how did 7 of 9 become a Fenris Ranger and all that? Maybe if we had gotten some time to get to know Icheb before he's brutally murdered, we could have a little bit more of an emotional connection, other than to say, wait a minute, is that Icheb? And then, oh crap, he's dead. You know, so, and for
I reckon they should have had Icheb alive, and 7 was looking to rescue him, and then she finds him dead, and that at the end of the episode.
Right. And think about it, that could have been a cool arc as far as for 7. Like if we saw 7 earlier in the season, she's joined the Fenris Rangers, and then we come back to her later and she's fighting for justice and everything, but then she gets the word that Icheb is missing. And then we come back to her later on and she's like trying to track down, who is this chick that 7 had this past relationship with that we get to meet, and then she gets vaporized by 7. You know, it's like, how about build that up a little bit? You know, and so that if you are going to straight up murder her, make it so that you really feel that what this woman was doing was evil, and all that. Now, granted, they tried to blatantly just shove in your face the blood and gore to make you say, yeah, she's evil, but we didn't know her, and she didn't seem like the mass murderer type, you know.
You're making me think of the Next Generation episode, The Most Toys, where Data's captured by the Collector, who ends up with Data pulling the trigger to kill him, but he's beamed away at the last second.
Right.
Where Data's made the logical choice that the only way to save others is to kill his captor, and then he's saved from actually becoming a murderer. And yeah, they dropped the ball on this one because he could have done something similar with 7.
Right.
Kind of a little off topic, but since I'm sure it's going to get brought up eventually, I'm wondering what's the average episode cost for Picard versus the Expanse season 4? Because
well, the problem is that, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but just talking to people about it, the actual, like, if you look at the budget for Picard is the single most expensive show ever produced. However, a lot of people are suggesting that a lot of that money is basically being funneled into the production of Star Trek Discovery to make up for their losses. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to that. It's all rumor and speculation, which, you know, I don't really deal with much on this channel. But that's kind of all I know. And yeah, Ensign Ricky put that it's $8.5 million per episode, which is ridiculous.
Because if you guys don't know, I'm a big Expanse fan, but I just have a feeling that the Expanse isn't costing $8 million an episode.
No, but you know the funny thing is that Expanse would not naturally be an expensive show to produce, as counterintuitive as that may sound, because the visual effects in the Expanse are relatively simple. You know, you have spaceship shots and set extensions, and that's pretty much it.
Well, given that they've reused the Picard's study from his mansion in the holodeck of Rios' ship, yeah, that money's going to be going somewhere.
Right.
That's got just a side question I want to ask Captain Foley. Have you had a chance to check out The Expanse yet, or is that on your list of things to do?
It's on the list. I'm actually just watching Hell on Wheels right now. I think The Expanse will be next.
You haven't seen The Expanse?
Not yet. I've seen a few episodes here and there, but meh.
Well, I'll tell you, it's when I assume you haven't gotten past season 1 yet, then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because the show, unfortunately, season 1 of The Expanse is pretty much just a preamble to season 2, and season 2 is where the story really gets going.
By season
1 is all about world building.
By season 4, things really go off the rails.
Yes, they do. And Carl is right. A lot of the money went to those actors and 3D printers. Now, the 3D printers still pisses me off. I tell you that.
Well, that's another unfortunate comparison, because and people are going to compare it anyway, so why not? But when you look at The Expanse, you see that a lot of that stuff is repurposed pre-existing props, but in the way that they use them, it seems believable. Like that's what a rifle would look like.
Right.
Like Amos's shotgun is really just an airsoft Scar H, but it looks like a believable thing. And a lot of the medical equipment in the current season looks believable, even if it's just a repurposed, commercially available prop. You can make a good show that looks expensive and not have to spend all that much money.
No,
but that's The Expanse. This is Star Trek, man. Since when do replicators look like goddamn 3D printers?
Right.
Well, that's my point. They were trying to take real-world props and make them look futuristic-y. I'm just saying the way they went about it on Star Trek has so far been kind of acidophile.
Well, that's the problem, though, is that's never happened before in Trek, though. Not to this extent. Like, if you look at, even like in the original series, what did they do for their food processing units? They just cut a hole in the wall and had a door slide open, right? And that is more believable than for me to see a frickin' 3D printer, because I've been, especially since, obviously I have a 3D printer, so I know what they frickin' look like. And to see, and they didn't even bother to remove the print head from it, If you ripped all the guts out of a 3D printer and just used the box, okay. But they didn't even do that. It would be kind of
a cool little shout out, but yeah, you're completely right. If they had just...
And the funny thing is, that's not even hard to do. With a couple of hex bolts and about 10 minutes of time, you can completely disassemble and remove the wiring and the print head and stuff, so that you would still have the build plate in there, which is where you have your replicated stuff be beamed in, and that would be the only thing that there would be. But to have it so that you still have the crossbar, and you still have the print head, and you still have the frickin' ribbon wires going from the print head to the CPU. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean,
I'm sorry, but I think I may have to do it. I may have to take us down the rabbit hole, and I don't think it'll stick around too much longer anyway. I want to get this out of there. I've been thinking about it just off the top of my head. Has anybody noticed any vague similarities between the Rocinante and Captain Rios' ship? Just the basic layout, how it's like 2 floors on top of each other.
There are some superficial similarities.
I'm not saying like they're clearly, quote, stolen, but it seems a little bit like somebody was watching another franchise in the making.
I think that the stairwell that goes down to the lower level does look similar, but the difference is on the Rossi, the upper level is pretty much just the piloting station. You know,
like I admit, it's not like the most solid,
right,
like comparison, but the way that they have the La Sala or whatever he's calling it, trying to look like kind of like used future, it just seems a little too on the nose.
No, I agree, but at least, and I'll tell you, when we first saw the pictures of the crew, so to speak, I was like, oh, geez, so this is just going to be nothing but Firefly and the Expanse mixed together. But I'm glad that the tone of the show is not like either. You know, so I don't get a Firefly vibe from this crew, and I certainly don't get an Expanse vibe from this crew.
Problem is, we do know that Amos does have access to a 3D printer. That's how he gets his booze money.
Well, okay, well, there's that. But Amos is a straight up psychopath, though, and while Rafi.
No, seriously. So you're in Tennessee, right? You can't pay for food and drinks with bullets.
No, we can't.
Huh.
Yeah, so sorry. Contrary to what people think, no, in the American South, you can't just walk in and pull out your 6-shooter and drop a couple of slugs on the bar and get a free drink. It doesn't work that way. So, although most states, like Tennessee, is considering having a basically the equivalent of a concealed carry permit for all citizens. So basically, concealing a weapon would no longer be illegal.
Oh, so you'd be like Alaska.
Do you guys not have concealment laws?
No.
Okay, I didn't know. I know Alaska's kind of liberal on the firearms side of things, but that's also because a lot of people up there basically get all their food by hunting.
Yeah, I was just making a joke about how Amos was buying booze at one point with 3D printed bullets.
Yeah, but there's some truth to that, though. But no, I think that the similarities between the Rossi and the whatever they call the ship on Picard are fortunately few and superficial.
I think the layout's similar to the Firefly, so I think it's just standard sci-fi low level.
Right. I think
Trek.
The larger problem is it just doesn't feel like Trek, which I get that it's a civilian ship and we've never spent a lot of time on a civilian ship, but that's a problem with this show, is that we have not even seen the interior of a starship.
Yeah, I gotta go pretty soon, but one of the problems that I've just realized, and I don't know if you guys have actually watched anything else Patrick Stewart's done, but if you brought up this show just in the vaguest terms, would you actually think it was a Star Trek show or just some rando project that Patrick Stewart was doing? Like, you left out all the sci-fi aspects and you just brought up twin sisters and some conspiracy, you'd be like, oh, I'll watch that. I like Patrick Stewart as an actor.
He's done some pretty weird stuff lately, so...
He was doing a comedy with Seth MacFarlane, so honestly,
I'll tell you, and this is where I know that some people get pissed off at me, but I actually think that this is very much a logical extension of TNG. I think that if you...
I actually like the show. I'm just saying, like, it just also kind of seems like...
Well, no, you see, I think where people get confused or agitated with this show is they think that the reason it's doesn't feel like Star Trek is because the Federation is dystopian and xenophobic and Picard is like a doddering old man and it's like, well, first of all, Picard is 95 years old in this show, so yes, he is an old man, and they play that up because they should. Starfleet is not or the Federation is not dystopian in this show. While people are arguing that they are, no. Dystopia basically means that people are living in fear for their lives from an oppressive government. And there is no sign of anything even remotely like that for the vast majority of the population. This is just another conspiracy story in Star Trek, which we've had plenty. All the way, Star Trek 6 was a great one, right? And so, but what's happening in this episode is that Picard's arrogance, which started at Encounter at Farpoint, basically his arrogance is constantly being called out in this show. That the world has basically, moved on past his heroics and sees him for what he is.
Yeah, I agree, Andy Trekker. And the Federation's never been the place of saints. Like you had in the original series, the very first episode, The Cage. What is the vaulted Federation Starfleet captain considering doing? Going into the sex trade.
Right. Getting Orion's sex slaves. Why not?
Yeah. And then you had, Lieutenant Styles in Balance of Terror? Completely distrusting of his first officer because he's an alien. You had, and Sisko actually gives a really good speech in Deep Space Nine about how it's easy to be a saint in paradise when you're on Earth and there is no crime and poverty.
Yeah, hey guys, just a quick, I gotta go. So
that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping up in just a few minutes anyway. You have a good one, Springtime. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good night.
See you, Springtime.
See you guys.
See you, Springtime. But yeah, Sisko gives a whole speech about the Federation's Earth. It's easy to be the saints and look out at paradise, but the Maquis are living, on the border of Cardassian space and are doing it tough. And
right.
The Federation really does. They're using them as pawns to keep the peace.
Right. And that's the thing is that like a lot of people, it's funny because where a lot of the people that are really, really pissed off about Picard right now and are basically seeing the Federation the same way that the people that lived on Earth saw the Federation when Sisko talked about paradise. And is that they think, wait a minute, the Federation is supposed to be happy and joy and kumbaya and everybody's, playing the flute and dancing naked down the streets without stopping to think about the fact that, did anybody stop to think about the fact that Tasha Yar, Federation citizen, running from rape gangs her entire adolescence?
Yeah, a failed Federation colony they didn't even bother sending in police force into.
Right. So it's not like the Federation is actually perfect or ever has been, but we tend to think of the Federation as what we see on the bridge of those starships. Right? And we don't realize, no, those are the best of the Federation. That's not what everybody's like. And I think that, the more valid critique, although I still think it can be explained, is that, like when Picard says things like the economics of the 24th century speech from First Contact or something. Because, well, clearly there are rich people and not rich people. Maybe, Rafi didn't live in abject poverty by today's standards, but she certainly wasn't living on a fine mansion in a vineyard in France.
Yeah, I took Picard's speech from First Contact like I took Kirk's "We don't use money in the 23rd century" in Star Trek 4. Money's different. You can't easily convert Federation credits into American dollars.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is where I always had a problem with Picard's attitude compared to Kirk. In Star Trek 4, Kirk said, "Oh, shoot, they're still using money." To me, that made me think, "Oh, shoot, they're still using currency." right? They still have dollars, as opposed to a credit system that's simply linked to you, right? So all currency, the way I always thought of that line is that all currency is digital currency.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I thought of it too.
But the way that Picard describes it in First Contact is that the acquisition of wealth and things is no longer a driving force. Instead, we simply do whatever we want to do to enrich ourselves, which is clearly complete and utter BS. Because if that were the case, then why is Rafi stuck living in a trailer in front of a national monument for whatever reason? But why is Rafi living in a trailer? If you can do anything you want to better yourself, why is it that people are living in lives that they don't want to be in?
Well, this reminds me of the Babylon 5, the political officer, people are living like that because they want to.
Mm-hmm.
We've eliminated all poverty on Earth. The only people in poverty are the ones who want to be there.
Yeah. And so I think that the... I think that basically Picard was kind of like the people that Cisco was critiquing. Picard saw Earth, and particularly, it's really easy to say how enlightened we are when you're the guy that has the mansion in the south of France. It's really easy to say that, the economy is doing great when you're the billionaire. It's, but when you're the person who's struggling to pay the bills, that has to make hard choices between, am I going to get the kids the food they want, or am I going to get, or am I going to get the prescriptions that I need?
Yeah, working that third job, and
right. When you're making those kind of tough choices, then it's a whole different ball game than when your name happens to be Bloomberg or Trump or whatever. If you're so rich that you could literally spend money all day long and never run out. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge Bloomberg or Trump or anybody else that's a billionaire, but at the same time, it's really easy to look at these people and see how out of touch they are, because they just they don't know what it's like to struggle, or at least they haven't known for a very long time, if they ever did, and if they ever really understood. Trump. I know people like to rag on Trump. He did a great thing. I mean, he turned a few $1 million into a few $1 billion over the course of a lifetime. That is an incredible achievement. But he never knew what it was like to truly be desperate. He never knew what it was like to have to eat top ramen for dinner. When he was at his worst, he was still living better than I'll ever live. And so I don't want to hear about Trump, about how hard it was for him at any point in his life.
Yeah, we had our last prime minister before the current one. He tried to pull the old battler card. He grew up in northern Sydney, millionaire, and he tried to tell us how he lived in we only lived in an apartment. I didn't live in a mansion. It's like, get over yourself.
Well, and that's actually something I kind of respect about Trump, is that one thing that I get sick of from American politicians, and the Democrats are doing it right now during their debates and stuff, is that they all try to say how they can identify with the common folks. Oh, I grew up in a middle-class working family. Yeah, to you, middle class is someone that makes $250,000 a year. Sorry, that's not how most Americans live. And and so I understand that you think, well, geez, we were only making $250,000, and that by the Bureau of Census Statistics, that's the upper end of middle class. Therefore, I was middle class, dude. You're not. If you've never had to make those kind of hard choices about what you're going to eat for dinner this month, then I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it if you've never had to worry about if you're going to be able to pay the rent. Or if you've never paid rent.
Yeah, we have back in the early 2000s, the class warfare. You had the Murdoch papers would run about how tough the middle class were doing, and they had to give up their third car and couldn't go on their skiing holiday. Right. And then they couldn't work out why they weren't selling newspapers.
Now, I know the Tentacle Pentacle loves to pick a fight with me over just about anything, but I got to address this one. So he's trying to say, so in Roddenberry Trek, the Federation is a paradise. In Berman Trek, Earth is a paradise. In Kurtzman Trek, the whole universe is a hellhole. Well, first of all, Roddenberry Trek is a myth. All right? Doesn't exist. Honestly, Trek was created by Gene Kuhn and D.C. Fontana more than Gene Roddenberry. Now, Gene Roddenberry created the initial concept that was made into a show, but the show was not shaped by Gene Roddenberry. But that being said, was the Federation an absolute paradise in TOS? Well, there were some great things about the future, and that's the whole idea that was optimistic, sure. But like Renegade pointed out earlier, Styles was a straight-up bigot, right? And he wasn't the only one. When people's emotions were being heightened, guess what? Scotty started turning himself into a racist. Kirk did. And in fact, Star Trek VI was all about Kirk dealing with his racism. All right,
hey, let's not forget McCoy's passive racism.
Yeah, so that's
the green-blooded son of a.
Yeah. So first of all, the Federation was not a complete paradise in Roddenberry Trek. As far as Berman Trek Earth Paradise, well, that's fairly accurate. But in Kurtzman Trek, the whole universe is a hellhole. Tell me, how horrible was it for Daj before the Romulans attacked her? Because it seemed like life was pretty damn good. I mean, honestly, she was living in a what we would consider a luxurious apartment today. She had a replicator where she could get whatever she wanted, even though her menu was laughably understocked, but that was just because of her own personal choices. And, you know, she had a boyfriend that she cared about. She was just getting ready to go to the Daystrom Institute, where she was going to be, you know, a fellow in cybernetics, despite the fact that they didn't have a cybernetics department, which is pretty impressive. So, you know, she was there was nothing wrong with her life. And so, you know, and now as far as, so the only person we saw on Earth that struggled at all was Rafi. And Rafi was disgraced and kicked out of Starfleet. But all that does is show you that, yeah, the economics aren't quite the communistic dream that Gene Roddenberry wanted it to be in the first season of TNG, even though he even failed at that. You know, and I'm sorry if I'm offending you, Captain Foley. I know you're a communist and all.
Hail Kuroga.
See, now you hurt my feelings, buddy. So are you saying that Kuroga is a communist country?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure that, you know, you should in fact, here's what I would ask for you to do. Come on the camera for just a moment, and I want you to tell everybody that you are a Kurogan because Kuroga is communist and you love communism.
I am Kurdistani. That's all I can say.
Well, okay, so you're Kurdistani. All right. See, you're denouncing communism. That's good. I appreciate that. But the anyway, but the idea that the Federation, that Earth was a hellhole, I think is unfair. I think that, I mean, because let's be honest, if Rafi is living in piss poor conditions by Earth standards, which from what we've seen, that's the case, still better than most people live today. You know, you realize she could replicate anything she wants? You know, she wasn't, it's not like she was like on the verge of starvation or worried about getting kicked out of her hovel. She just didn't have anything other than her trailer. Maybe that's what the bare minimum is. Anyway, I am going to wrap it up there. So I want to thank everybody that played in the game earlier, but also Captain Foley especially. Thanks for hanging out with us, even though you didn't get drunk and take off your shirt this time. John, thanks for quietly sitting there with the Tomb and the Unknown red shirt during our rantings. Renegade, thank you for indulging my idiocy. And Daniel, thank you for passively sitting there and wondering if you were going to say anything. Welcome.
I wanted to talk about Star Trek Picard a little bit with you.
I would love to. We got to do that one of these nights. But unfortunately, I got to get up in a few hours and go to the prison thing. I don't know if you heard about that, but every Saturday morning now I visit a guy in jail. No, it's not Bird of Prey, unfortunately, but we can always hope. But
is it Jesus? Everyone always finds Jesus in jail.
Well, we talk about that a little bit, but mainly, and I did. Our church is what set this up. Is basically to just hang out with them, be their friend, basically, as they're dealing with being incarcerated. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially when they're in jail for a relatively short amount, like I think he was sentenced to like 6 months, and you don't think about it. Imagine if you don't get any visitors. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just show up and I'm like, hey, what do you want to talk about? If he wants to talk about religious stuff, we'll talk about that. But it's just kind of like when I do my live shows. Whatever he wants to talk about, I'll talk to him about. As long as it's something I can talk about. The weird thing, though, is that I can't take my cell phone into the conversation. So it's like if he's asking me some specific question and I don't know the answer, it's so weird to not have your cell phone to look it up. Because I've gotten used to that.
Yep. No Google. No.
No Google. All right, guys. So thank you again, Daniel, and the rest of you. I appreciate it. And yes, one of these times, Daniel, we'll argue about Picard, I'm sure. I know you like the show a little more than I do, but I also know that I like the show a lot more than certain other people out there. So
yeah. Also, Andy Tricker, I gave you a cool picture on Skype and Discord if you want to go and see it.
I did. I saw that you sent it to me. I haven't been on there yet. Let me go there now. Which picture are you talking about? The Shatner, or no? That's the it's you there. Oh, cool. The Popeyes one.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, the Popeyes. You ever go to Popeyes? It's really good. It's really good.
Popeyes is. I'll tell you, that's Mrs. Anti-Trekker's favorite chicken. Is Popeyes, and the. For me, I like Popeyes. They're pretty good. I like their mild chicken. The spicy is a bit much for me, which I know makes me sound like a real wimp. But I like their chicken. But Mrs. Anti-Trekker, I was always a KFC guy, but then Mrs. Anti-Trekker kind of converted me to Popeyes because she likes it better.
Yeah, I used to be a KFC guy too, but after I got Popeyes, I just love it. I always go there all the time.
Yeah, and the 11 herbs and spices are 10 parts salt and 1 part flour.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. All right, guys. So, Jolan True or Kapla or whatever it may be in your time zone. And thank you all for hanging out. And let the credits roll.
Well, thanks for having us,
guys.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistannies know your name, and all Karogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Karoga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!